All right. Recording. Go.
Go what?
I don't know.
Do I do the intro for this one, this blab?
Yeah, you want it? Is that cool?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm just thinking of a Patty joke, and I think I got one. It's a little topical. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's SEO and IPA. It's the fun weekly blab blog about SEO, inbound marketing, and more for cool people of all shapes, stripes, and colors. As always, I am Daniel Barrett, here from Two Friendly Nerds, the world's friendliest web design and internet marketing company. And with me, as always, is the brains behind the operation, officially the only reason anybody ever watches this show. 80% water, 100% humidity. It's Patty D'Alessio from reinventinteractive.com. Patty, how are you, my wonderful friend?
I am wonderful. How are you, my wonderful friend?
Doing fine. Doing good. What I was going to say was we've talked about this before, but I launched an AdWords agency that focuses on real estate. And so that's been going pretty well. And we offer a trial, a 30-day trial. And so people sign up for the trial. And I've just kind of been doing it all by hand. And working on processes the whole time and like documenting all my stuff. And I've got like a whole systems thing in Evernote. And so I'm kind of getting ready to bring more people into the process because I'm starting to get overwhelmed. This is what happened to me last time. The company scaled really fast and I was like, I'm rich, but I was so busy and I couldn't like maintain the service. And so I lost a bunch of people. So then I'm bringing them back. So anyway, this time I have all the services in place and systems and everything's all set. So now I'm looking to automate the thing. And I've automated the entire sales process largely where they opt in, they get put into Active Campaign, and I have a CRM in Active Campaign, and they move around in the CRM based on what they're doing. And it's like, oh, did they schedule an appointment? Yes or no? And it puts them in the right thing. It sends the emails, gets the payments, puts them in the trial. Everything's cool with that. So I'm like, cool, that's all set up. So now I need to bridge the gap now between like bringing people in and sending them the tasks. And so I'm kind of like, I didn't know exactly what I was going to use. And so I'm toying around with using Trello for the project management piece. I use Basecamp for the web design company, and I like Basecamp for more that kind of project. This is not really like that kind of project. It doesn't really make sense to me to have all these separate things. I need to look at a visual thing and be like, how many clients need to be set up? How many are set up? How many are past the trial? Like, et cetera. So I've been playing around with Trello this morning and kind of working in our Evernote notes. And then I was kind of like, we use HipChat for the team to kind of like everyone communicate. And we basically spend all day in HipChat talking about nonsense. And so now I'm kind of like, should I switch to Slack? Slack seems cool. What's cooler, HipChat or Slack? So I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm like, this is sort of like stuff that feels like work, but is more fun for me. Like this is more, I like building the mousetraps things. Right. So now I'm building zaps that add boards and trying to think about what are my Trello boards and what goes on a list. And
what do you think of Trello? Do you like Trello?
I used it once before and did get a whole lot out of it. That was mostly for personal stuff. So now that it's like for the team, I did some research. I read some blog posts. There's a service. I don't know if you've ever seen them or seen their blog called WP Curve. No. So they're a cool service. It's like you pay $20 a month, and it's like you get sort of like unlimited tiny WordPress fixes and tasks a month. Nice. So it's kind of like, I need to move my opt-in box like on top, and they'll just do it for you.
So it's like Fancy Hands, but for WordPress specific?
Sort of. Yeah. It's like and the whole reason I got into them was I was doing a lot of reading about productized services.
Right. I remember.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, so they're like one of the big companies. They spend a lot of time blogging, and they have a very nice blog. And so they do a lot of cool. They use Trello, and so I read like all about how they use Trello and kind of like blah blah blah. So So I decided to give it a shot. Now I'm trying to think through like how to use Trello for my business, sort of what I want to look at and what needs to be available. And it was interesting with the sales process. I realized that I had people signing up for trials and getting on the phone with people, and I was like, oh, I have no idea who you are. This is literally the first time I've come into contact with you. The process is actually working really, really well now. That whole process, I'm like really pleased with it. So it's like now I need that for the setup. I need stuff to get set up so I don't have to touch it.
Right.
And, it's an interesting process. Yeah, it's fun.
I have to say, I was just talking about you this morning. I was on a blab just before this about, what was it? We were talking about kind of like processes and what to do to stay productive and productivity tools and stuff like that. And then we got to automation, and I started describing about your awesome onboarding automation that you've kind of, pulled together by you use Zapier. I was mentioning if this, then that, and all that, just the API kind of like communicating. So like you engage with the client, you agree to move forward, they, pay the invoice. That triggers an onboarding kind of like what's like a questionnaire, which then triggers these next steps, which then triggers the Basecamp project. It all kind of like creates a project. And so anyway, so you're my hero when it comes to the like auto magically kind of like space. And I know Trello is all over the place with these auto magically kind of
It's nice because it's free.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, if I don't like it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's interesting. It's interesting to see how it works. I don't think it's exactly how my thought process works, Trello, but it really is interesting. It helps to think about. Okay, so I'm thinking about like Justin is the guy that I'm training up to be not project manager, but account manager. I'm like, okay, what does Justin need to know to do this? And so I used Evernote's where everything lives. So like all our client notes, all the information lives in Evernote, but I can link from any card to Evernote. And since I know he's in Evernote with me, it's just like, here's the thing. And we use Google Drive to kind of store all the files that we need. So it's just kind of like one piece at a time. It's coming together. And it's needed because I'm like, what's going on? I'm starting to like be a little, and that was the danger point.
Yeah. Well, today's talk is good timing for you then, maybe like some tools and add more mess for you to consider.
Yeah.
No,
definitely.
maybe not. Well, I have a beer. Can we do this part?
Yes, you can do your beer. I have a drink too, but it's not a beer.
Okay, I have a beer.
Okay. This is not my drink, although we can talk about it.
All right, I'm going to quiz you.
Talk about coffee. We can talk about it.
Okay, wait. We have a question. I don't know if we want to do this real quick. We have too many products to learn and manage. You use any workflow software to manage it all? Workflow to manage product. I don't know. How do you read that question? I'm a little confused.
I'm not totally sure. Kind of what you mean either.
Let us know. Eliminate Love. We're a little bit confused on your question. So you're looking for workflow software, like maybe some of the stuff that Dan was talking about. Okay. Oh, wait. So first of all, Dan, I'm going to quiz you on the beer. You're going to guess here. What is the most sought after beer right now?
The most sought after beer like today?
Yeah. What's a really sought after beer?
Sought after beer right now.
Just come on.
There's that beer that's inside the squirrel. You know what I'm talking about?
I hate you.
That's like $1,000 beer.
Oh, inside a squirrel?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
Oh my God. Okay. Is it a pumpkin beer?
No. Here, I'll give you a hint.
I have no idea what it is.
Shut up.
I don't know.
You don't know this?
I don't know what that is.
I'm going to take away your beer card.
I don't have a beer card.
Clearly. Anyway, this is called Heady Topper.
Okay. I've heard of that.
Okay. It's very, very sought after beer, my friend. It's by The Alchemist in Vermont. It's an IPA. It's a glorious IPA.
Yeah.
A little bit hyped, I think, since I've gotten my hands on this, but we're gonna share this. It says I'm supposed to drink it out of the can, but I'm not going to.
So you're saying don't believe the hop.
This is what a
That's a
heady
nice
topper
color.
looks like.
That's a nice color.
So
And it does have a heady top there.
It does have a heady top. So the way that this is described, it's like a phenomenal beer. It's a great, an amazing IPA. They describe it as sort of like this wave after wave of hopness. So as opposed to the bitter punch you up front with the bitter. I think that's true. I think that there's a lot of interesting hop flavor. I also find that it has this unusual sort of creamy mouthfeel, which is a little unusual for an IPA. And I like my IPAs a little brighter, I have to say. So I'm not on the bandwagon for this particular beer. I had a friend of mine out in California saw me drinking one of these over the summer. And he was like, it's like unicorn blood out there because the brewery's in Vermont and they don't really ship and it's like a big thing. He's like, yeah, people pay like $40 a can for this stuff. So anyway, so it's a real, what are you doing? Are you talking about the squirrel beer?
I am.
What you're doing. Okay. So anyway, so cheers. I'm going to taste this. It's heady topper. It's really interesting. It really is good. It does have this interesting hop profile. And the other thing with this too is that you're supposed to drink it like really, really super fresh, like ridiculously fresh. I don't know where my date is on this one, but it was always kept cold. My friend won a case of this in like an auction for her kid's school. And I was supposed to go in on it with her. And anyway, so I got some beer. So anyway, I don't see a date, but you'll look this up later and you'll get the hype. So it's heady topper in a can. It's got a big, wide, like.
So you can't find it? Because I was going to say I've never seen it.
You can't find it. And it's gone before you can get it. It comes in these little 4-packs with a weird little plastic thing on top. But
okay. All right.
Anyway, that's the beer for today. I'm going to be enjoying this. This is SEO and IPA after all.
All right.
I'm drinking a heady topper, and we're talking SEO tools. So
and I've got this right here. We go. You ready?
Ready? Okay.
Yeah, you know what that is.
Ginger
That's
ale?
a LaCroix Sam's Club brand seltzer can.
That's your favorite. You know, you used to be more fun, Dan. That's all I have to say.
I'm trying to watch my drinking.
Okay, fine.
I'll try to bring one next week.
A taste on Wednesday is not going to throw you into the. Anyway.
For when my brother got married, because I was in the bridal party, he got us like it was like a little beer carrier, like tool,
like a wooden
toolbox thing. Yeah, it's fun.
I have one too. Very cool.
It's got like a little opener on it, and he put like some beers in there, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, you know, I'll drink these on the show, but I just whatever.
Anyway, very good. Congratulations to the brother. I think I saw pictures.
Yeah, it was great. Did you see my squirrel beer picture that I put in?
I see no squirrel beer picture.
Scroll down. You don't see that?
Nope.
I tried it again.
Nope. I have two little broken. What if I click on it?
Click on it.
Nope. Hold on.
No?
Oh, I see it. Shut up. You can't do that.
You can.
No.
It's the world's strongest beer, and it's in a taxidermied squirrel that's how it's served. Yeah.
See, I'm typing the link, and it's not even letting me put in the link. Why is that?
It appears for me. I see it.
Oh, okay. Do you see my link?
Yours just now.
Okay.
There's something about their SSL certificate is weird.
It is. I had to take off the S. That's exactly what I did. So anyway, today's talk. We have a monster list of SEO tools. Yes.
Okay.
I did put the link in here. If you scroll up, whoever's watching here, it's backlinko.com/SEO-tools. And the article is pretty interesting. I like that you've got the little links at the top that you can click on which tools you want to kind of narrow the list down to, right?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's handy.
So I realized when I was going through the list, I went through each of the topics, but I only showed Brian's favorite tools. So I just realized I haven't really seen all 131 tools for today, right? But
so is this is supposed to be everything?
So what he's done, what he's done is he's found 131 tools. He's reviewed them and ranked them over the last month or more. I forget what he says. But he allows you to kind of like filter it. So I don't know if we could see like the full ranking. I guess it's sort of alphabetical otherwise. But I took out an Evernote and kind of commented on the tools that I'm already using that I know that I like. Some of the ones that were new that I, in reading the article kind of checked out a little bit. Ones that I think I've used before, for example, something called Authority Labs. I think I've used that before, but I'm not sure. So I kind of put that into my list. But there's a bunch that I'm using. Some are new. Some you've actually introduced me to.
Yeah. So let's do a quick inventory before we go through this list, because this list is gigantic.
Yeah, we can't hit everything today. But yeah.
So what do you currently pay for?
Yes.
Let's talk about paid tools. What do you pay for now in your own?
I pay for. I continue to pay for all the Moz tools. I have them tracking, I've set up my campaigns. I have them tracking some clients' movement as far as rank goes.
Right.
I pay for SpyFu.
Yeah.
Which I'm really liking. I know that you turned me onto that one.
Yeah.
I'm paying for, let me look. I think it's Megalytics. Hold on. Yeah, it's singular, megalytic.com.
That doesn't get the loud voice.
And I like Megalytic. Megalytic is that they're doing.
Why is it only one? Why didn't they add the S?
Megalytics? I don't know. Megalytic.
What is wrong? Was Megalytics not available? Metalytic was available, but Megalytics wasn't?
Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, here is I'll put the name here.
There's so many stock photo people in here.
Where
and people in coffee shops with reclaimed wood tables.
Oh, I know.
Why does the site look like this?
I don't know, but it's good. You should do a free trial of it. I mean, I use this for my reporting, and I can create templates.
Reporting. That's cool.
Yeah.
Reporting things again.
It's kind of like refried beans,
So it's just like an analytics reporting tool?
Yeah, and it does paid, and it does analytics, and it does trending, and it does overtime, and it gives me a nice fancy little link, and it's pretty. It does, colors and pie charts and bar charts, and I like it. I got rid of Raven tools, I have to say, and I'm trying to think of what else I'm paying for. I mean, there's other business stuff that I'm paying for, like my, and I was just talking about this morning too, Wave Apps. I'm using that to do my books and my financial stuff and my receipts and my invoicing, which I really like. Still continue to like that. But
free? Aren't those free?
It's mostly free. I'm doing a bit to do with my taxes, so I pay like $9 a month or something or more. I forget what it is, but they charge me for something. I have to. I'm incorporated. I'm not an LLC, so I have these things I have to file every month and things I have to file every quarter, and it's a bit torturous. So,
my tax attorney did tell me that if you make over a certain amount, being incorporated makes more sense than being an LLC. Yeah. I forget what the cutoff point.
I'm
was.
Certain I'm not there, but yeah, it's just been kind of a bit of a pain in the ass. It really has. My friends are like, what are you doing? My friends who's, Lori Peterson, she's like, you're doing this yourself. What do you do? So it's just, yeah. But I got talked into it when I sought advice by my accountant. This was a recommended way to go. So
yeah,
I could change it, but it's a little bit of a hassle. So anyway, what are you paying for currently? What do you got?
What do I pay for? I don't really pay for SEO stuff anymore because I'm just not doing a lot of SEO. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I'll come back to it. Raven was my preferred SEO tool. Mm-hmm. I like Raven better than Moz.
Yep.
And Raven, I thought, did reporting quite well. I pay for SpyFu.
Yep.
Although I don't know if I really need it. It's interesting because I I pay for it, and I was using it in the beginning as a way of getting clients.
Right.
So I would approach people and be like, let me do these reports and let me show you kind of like what you're, but because I'm in a narrow market, like I'm in a specific niche.
Yeah.
I don't need to do a lot of competitive research. After a while, everything just starts to look the same, and it's a small enough niche that a lot of the data isn't just there.
Right.
SpyFu, right? So in some ways it's useful. I end up using it like once or twice a month, and so it's kind of on the borderline for me. But I like it a lot. It's cool. I just don't know if I get the use out of it. I pay for Zapier. Zapier is the engine that runs most of my business. I pay for Active Campaign.
Yes.
I love Active Campaign. I think it's amazing. And I use that for my CRM now as well. I pay for Evernote.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Why?
If I could only have one thing, it would be Evernote.
Right.
I love Evernote more than life itself.
Okay.
I would rather die than live without Evernote.
What do you do? I mean, what do you get by paying for it? I'm just putting in Active Campaign here. For
Evernote, PDFs are searchable. You get more upload space. You can put more stuff in it. There are various features. To be honest, I don't even know. It's $50 a year.
Right. Oh, okay.
It's like there are little things that I don't even remember anymore. It's been so long since I signed up for it, and I will pay for it without a second, without a second thought. Other stuff so I pay for Typeform.
What was the last one?
Typeform.
Okay.
Which is a form. Nice form software.
Yeah.
I don't really know if I need to pay for that. I probably don't, but it connects to everything via Zapier, and I find that very convenient.
Mm-hmm.
What else do I pay for? I have it in a spreadsheet, but that's really it. I'm actually running very lean nowadays, and I just went through and I really cut the amount of software that I was using. Like I deliberately kind of slashed my expenses in half almost. Oh, okay. I pay for Optimizer.
Okay.
That's a good one. I love Optimizer. That's where we do our AdWords reporting out of.
Yeah.
The Optimizer with a Y.
Yeah.
I pay for ClickFunnels. Actually, ClickFunnels has been great.
Yeah.
And I like ClickFunnels a lot. We use that for basic funnel marketing stuff, which I haven't done a ton of yet, but we're gearing up for a big program launch that we're using that largely for.
Okay, cool.
I pay for Unbounce. Unbounce we use a lot for clients, although less and less, actually. We use it less and less just because of various things.
Do you need that? Does that do similar stuff to ClickFunnels? No.
Unbounce?
Yeah.
Yeah, ClickFunnels is really for ClickFunnels is what we use for our internal marketing.
Oh.
And the reason that I like it is because it has a lot of functionality built into it. Like it can take payments and integrates with Stripe.
Okay.
It's really meant for like a funnel, like a product launch funnel kind of thing.
Yeah.
It even has like membership site functionality and stuff in it, which I don't use yet.
Okay.
So I just like it for that kind of stuff. Unbounce is really like, Unbounce is really like classic landing page.
Yeah.
And you can use it for a lot of stuff, but it's just a lot less fast than ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels gives you less freedom, but it's much quicker to use. So ClickFunnels is much closer to lead pages than it is to Unbounce.
Got it. Got it.
I pay for CallRail.
Right.
CallRail.
Really?
Yeah.
Even
we use it for every single client.
Google,
so
even with
a lot of money to CallRail.
Google phone tracking and stuff you don't use?
Nah, because it's fine, but CallRail just gives us like really finely grained data. Plus, it also allows us to record the calls.
Okay.
So I record all the calls because I need to know the lead quality.
Yeah.
So it just works better for us. It's faster and it integrates fine with AdWords and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't checked out the Google phone tracking since it was first launched, and I wasn't particularly impressed by it. So I was like, man. Plus the phone tracking, it works it basically the same way, but I like it. And then that's it really. That's kind of everything.
Yeah.
So there's more stuff that I forgot.
Right.
But a lot of stuff to actually like run the business. Not many tools to actually like do what we do. Optimizer is really the only AdWords tool that we use.
Okay.
And we only use that for very specific things.
Right.
Largely because, like, I don't know, you might find this with SEO.
Yeah.
Tools don't always do a particularly great job.
Yeah.
No, I'm not like super impressed with, like, there's a lot of stuff, especially for AdWords. It's like, oh, well, it uses an AI to automate your stuff, and it does it for you, and it's like, but it doesn't really do a particularly good job.
Yeah, I'm talking about onboarding a client. I'm kind of getting into a new business opportunity where I'm looking into HubSpot. Funny enough. So I haven't actually gotten my hands on HubSpot before. I'm just now like checking it all out, and it's very cool. It's very sexy. Have you ever gotten into the back end of HubSpot?
Once. I actually hated it.
Did you?
So that was a long time ago.
Well, yeah, and I think
so you're asking me if I've ever been in that sexy back end. And
I know, as I was saying it, I was like, oh.
I did it a little bit and I didn't like it, so I stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a long time ago. But I just remember being like, ugh. And the client site that I was working on was also kind of like,
Right.
It was a sort of a weird experience. I didn't spend much time in there. So I don't really know all
yeah. Well, I'll let you know. Maybe we can talk about it in the next upcoming weeks. So anyway, it's interesting. I mean, I like the possibilities of that linked up and working the way, taking advantage of all that HubSpot offers.
Can you explain like the whole, you don't have to get all the way into it, but what's the deal with HubSpot? What does it do?
Well,
my impression is it's like a CMS that also has like the email stuff plugged into the back.
Yep. But it's also a platform. It's also its own website platform. So you pay to
that's
have
the CMS part, right? So it's like WordPress, but not like it's
right.
like WordPress, but I don't know. You explain it. And I don't
yeah,
know.
No. So it connects your your CMS, your list is seamlessly attached to the platform that the website is built in, which you've got the content management system for that, but you also have the where you're collecting your list. And so it's, it's cooking visitors. So it knows that someone is on your list. They've already opted in. You can choose to serve up particular kind of information to them based on when they've come to the site, what they've bought, what they've opted into. Yeah. So what else does it do? There's a lot of stuff. And now it's even linking into your Gmail. So you can kind of do email automation kind of stuff right in Gmail instead of having to use, kind of HubSpot or another email client, which was real sexy. They announced that at Inbound this year. But I don't know, it looks cool. It's got a lot of analytics on the back end. That's the stuff that I've been diving into currently is, who's visited the site, what have they done, I don't know. I'll let you know. I'll let you know as I explore that some more. But so it's new to me, which is totally cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's I'm curious.
Yeah,
I'm curious. I wasn't super impressed last time, but again, this was several years ago.
So, like, instead of having WordPress as your content management system, and then that feeding into either Infusionsoft or Mailchimp or something like that, everything is kind of all together. So, and like I said, it cookies you, so it knows who's coming to the site. So when you visit the site, it can say, "Hi, Dan." Glad to see you again. It's a little creepy.
I don't have to do that.
I know I shouldn't have to do that. But anyway, okay. So there's a list. How do you want to approach this? So we've shared this list.
Let's pick a topic.
A topic. Okay. So anyone that's listening here or listening to the replay, we're at backlinko.com/SEO tools, and this is Brian Dean has written this article called SEO Tools, the Complete List. So he has tested and reviewed 131 of the top SEO online tools. And the article allows you to filter these tools between free, paid, and freemium. And you can see only the ones that Brian calls his favorites. And you can break it down into link building, technical SEO, keyword research, rank tracking, content optimization, and backlink analysis. So the articles super, super useful. I mean, anyone doing SEO or online marketing should really get their hands on this article and just, filter in what you're looking to do. You might find a new tool that you've never used or a new solution to a problem that you're having. But okay, did you want to start with, I would say, technical SEO or link building?
I'm curious about link building.
Okay.
Link building, we'll do free, paid, and freemium.
Yep.
Do you want to do only his favorites to start with?
Because, we only have so much time today. So yeah, so why don't we just look at some of his favorites. So this is link building. So you're on the same article I am? I mean, the same page.
So we're looking at BuzzStream as the first one.
That's right. That's right. So I don't use BuzzStream. Do you?
I have no idea what it is.
Okay, I don't know what it is either. So I kind of like checked it out. I think I put it on my list of things to try. So I think
influencers, manage your relationships, and conduct outreach that's personalized and efficient. So basically,
okay,
you find influencers, you can connect with them.
Yeah.
And then stuff happens. So this might be good for promoting content. It's kind of doing your manual outreach kind of part of promoting content. It says digital PR is one of the first things. So that's kind of interesting for you, right?
Okay. Yeah, it is. So it looks like what it does is it pulls in your contacts, and then you're able to kind of group your contacts, segment your list, right?
But if someone's already in my contacts, what do I care? I already know them. I thought this was like, it's going to go out in the online and be like, oh, you're interested in promoting SEO.
Yeah.
Here are like 15 people who have promoted SEO in the last week.
Right.
Maybe it does both.
Maybe. I'm wondering if this is more akin to like a contactually idea, and then it kind of hooks to BuzzSumo, where you can kind of then share.
Is it the same company?
It is. It looks like it's the same company.
Huh. Okay, that's cool.
I'm sorry, I keep coming up with this squirrel, the taxidermy squirrel.
Yeah, that's the best.
I'm not sure if it is, Dan.
It is. All right, let's keep moving down.
Okay.
Content marketer is the next one.
Content marketer.
Link building tool.
I am
an excellent tool that finds contact information and helps you reach out to those people. Found that the contact info it spits out is particularly accurate.
Okay.
Provides email templates for your outreach. So again, this is like another thing where it looks like it's you just wrote a piece of content. You need to reach out to people to let them know that you did it.
And then it's got these templated emails that you can take advantage of. One, I've been reading your blog lately. I just want to say thank you. Yeah. So it's a little bit, I don't know.
Scan your latest blog post and Content Marketer, or upload a CSV of names and websites, and Content Marketer will hunt down email addresses, Twitter handles, and contact forms.
Okay.
So it basically it finds their information for you. Mm-hmm. You can build a list of people that reach certain criteria, and then you can send out an email, basically like a mass email.
Okay, that's useful. Here, I'll put the link to this. I mean, you could be checking out this article as well. Again, we're reviewing 131 SEO tools.
If you're just tuning in.
Okay.
Next one is help a reporter out.
Yeah.
I think we're both familiar with the service. You get these emails, people like, I've been on here for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I find it completely overwhelming. I never open these emails ever.
From Haro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever. Because it's like.
Yeah.
Right? First of all, they send them out like 3 times a day.
Right.
And then it's like, I feel like by the time I read the email, scan the ones, and then reach out, they're like, I already got 5,000 people.
Right, exactly.
No?
Yeah.
And it must just be like, it's just, you just got a consistency, but I find it super overwhelming. No?
Right.
Do you do this at all?
I don't do it. I work with a client who has used a paid for PR representative before, and it seemed like all they were doing is sending Haro requests. I'm sort of like, that's not all that helpful. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah. And like he says in the description, it says takes a bit of grinding to get a single mention. I think you really have to be on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This might be something that I might use a VA for, like a virtual assistant. Use a virtual assistant to kind of scan through it and say, all right, here are my criteria for these things. I'm going to forward the email to you automatically every day. And what I want you to do is read through it. And if you find something that meets these exact criteria, I want you to text me and let me know, and like just email me the thing, and I'll deal with it then. That way you don't have to go through it. That might be kind of a better way to do it.
Right.
Link miner.
Yeah.
Link miner checks for broken links on a page. This free Chrome extension also shows you how many links the broken link has pointing to it. How many links the broken link has pointing. Okay. Helpful for link building. So I don't really understand. How does this work? Explain to me what this process, how you use this process.
The link miner, I think it's just a plugin, right, to your browser. Mm-hmm. And it's telling you how many inbound links they have and how many outbound links they have. Okay. So if this is similar to one of the other ones I saw on this list, the way he's using it, and I think the next one does, no. I think the way he's doing this is if somebody has a whole ton of outbound links, you can find broken links and then maybe approach and offer to replace those broken links with similar content.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Where he says, therefore, broken link opportunities. I think that's what that means is you can say, hey, you've got these broken links. That's bad. But hey, guess what? I just created a fresh version of something like that.
Or yeah. So if you make a piece of content, you find similar pieces of content out there and you find one that's broken, you can find all the people that link to that one and say, hey, that one was broken, but I just made another one that's very similar. You know, he has 131 tools. I have 133 tools. I think you should look at me. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. That makes sense.
Right.
Muckrack.
Muckrack. I don't know this either. Do you? This is on my list.
Get mentions, from sites like the New York Times. Rubbing elbows with journalists. And Muckrack is an impressive PR tool. Helps you find journalists that cover your industry. The journalist directory is a hand-curated list of journalists. Includes their latest tweets, columns, and up-to-date contact information. Right. So I'm like, hey, I can email you and be like, hey, you write for the New York Times. And I'm in no way stalking you, but I'm outside your house. Do you want to get a coffee? So that's cool.
Can you share a link to the list you're looking at? Yes, I can. Hold on. 1 second. I think is it Eileen's looking for this article. This is Backlinko's. Backlinko SEO -tools. Here we go. Okay, this is what we're looking at. Okay, so it's Eileen. Hi, honey. All right, go ahead. What's next?
All right. And Eileen, how we got to we're looking at link building. You'll see there's a lot of apps on there. We're looking at the link building ones.
Yeah, you can.
We clicked all the boxes as his favorites as well.
Yeah.
Okay, Pitchbox. All-in-one link prospecting and outreach tool. Pitchbox is a breeze to use. Enter a few keywords and the tool scans the web for people to promote to and automatically grabs their contact info. Okay. To reach out and track your results.
That's great. That's so helpful. I love that. Added to my list.
Okay.
Remove.
Best link removal tool.
There you go.
Remove, yeah.
Oh, this is helpful. So this is... Wait, so you would search for people linking to you?
I mean, I think this is for, it's for bad backlinks.
Got it. Okay. That actually is helpful. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Good.
Okay. Siege Media Embed Code Generator. Infographic embed code generator. Okay, that seems very specific. I guess it's, you're making infographics for people to link to, and so you create the embed code for other people. Oh, I get it. To make the embed code clickable on your own site so they can embed it on their stuff and give you.
Oh, got it. Right. Yeah, and it does that that automatic. Okay.
Cool.
Very cool.
All right, you want to look at technical SEO tools?
Yeah. Now you've used White Spark, right? You've done that for your local SEO, I think. Isn't that what they're known for?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Patty, just so you know, if you go back up, you unselect link building, and then you select technical SEO, you're going to get, there's only one if you do it the way we're doing it.
Got it. I did it.
Yeah, but we can talk about Whitespark. Yeah, I've
That's
used Whitespark for citation building, which is a nice local SEO service that people get. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you can, it's, a lot of SEO, it's kind of like, you don't feel like you necessarily have a lot to show for your work necessarily up front. So you can be like, I built you 100 citations.
Right.
That's gonna be easy. Yeah, and Whitespark's really cool.
Okay.
The other thing I use for Whitespark a lot is their Google Plus handout generator, which is useful. Although not anymore.
No, well, yeah.
Well, for reviews, I mean, I think Google Plus reviews help still, but in any case, it's nice for that.
Brian has a question. Do you see that? He's talking about link building tools. And by the way, if anybody wants to join us, the hot seat is open. I can pull you in. But he sent us to Ontolo/link building tools. So this, I don't know, Brian, if you want to jump on, why don't you tell us what you like about this particular tool? And I don't think it's in the list. This is new to me. It's not in the other Brian's list. Here we go. Oops, sorry. Gotcha. Hi there.
Hi. It actually is on your list.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Did I knock it down far enough?
It's Ontolo.
Okay.
So the guys that are behind that, Citation Labs, they have an affiliation with Whitespark. Mm. And the fellow's name who's behind Ontolo, his name is Garrett French. And in my opinion, he's probably one of the best link builders in North America. Mm. Nice. So he's somebody to really pay attention to. Ontolo is a very sophisticated tool, and it's a very good for link prospecting. And they have their tool called Link Prospector. Okay. And it works really well with BuzzStream. So it's a really good way to find links, but also to find relationships that you can build towards links.
So are you using this right now?
Yes.
So what's the workflow like? Like, how do you use it? Like, let's say I hire you. I'm like, build me a bunch of links, Brian, because I'm a jerk and I talk.
Yeah, I don't. Look, I did SEO for 15 years, and now I've kind of moved on. I'm a content strategist now, so I work a lot more in that sphere in LinkedIn. But what I can tell you is that the best flow. I mean, the tool will go out and it'll find appropriate links, and it'll put them in the order of their domain authority and their page authority. Yeah. And that'll allow you to start to have develop an outreach program with applications like BuzzStream that will enable you to start to reach out to those people for links, but also to there's a bit of a mixed feeling about guest posts.
Yes.
About Google's penalizing people for that. I agree and disagree with it. I think there is still some justice for it. You can still pull it off really well, and it still works really well for me. And you'll see that even Brian Dean recommends it in his course on his recent course in 2015 on link building. He does talk about it there. Yeah. So it's not something to distract from, but it's an effective way to build links, and there's just such a plethora of so many tools available to you right now. But your mind is the best tool when it comes to link building.
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends on the mind.
Right. Exactly.
Depends on the mind question.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, so let me ask you, like, what makes this one? So we talked about a couple ones on the list, right? So we went the link building ones. And the reason I wanted to do that one was because I'm like, I don't really know anything that I particularly like for this space, right? Like, I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of stuff that BuzzSumo is the one that most people know. So what makes this one particularly awesome versus some of the stuff that we talked about? Like, or what are if you had to sell me on this, like, what would be?
You'd have to dig into it. I mean, it's we'd have too long of a blab to talk about it. But the point here is that it does work very similar to BuzzSumo in that regard, but it digs a little deeper and it gives you a lot more metrics that you can work with to find quality links that you're looking for. And Whitespark wouldn't take Citation Labs on if they didn't think that their link prospector tool was mind-blowing. So I know Darren Shaw personally, and I can tell you that he has a really phenomenal relationship with Garrett French about this. And he works in the background with Whitespark on that tool. And at a local level, it works really well. And at other levels, it works really well. So, I mean, it's a personal choice that I make, but I know that I don't overuse the tools. I mean, you don't need to with link building. I stick to a couple of them, one or two, and that's it. I mean, I've met too many SEOs who don't know how to do SEO well and rely heavily on tools to do the work for them. And good luck. Yeah. You're not going to be around very long.
Well, and it's just like the thing with SEO, right, that makes it sort of one of the reasons it's such a rapidly changing situation all the time is like, of course, if someone made a piece of software that was like, hey, I just did all the work for you and it totally did, then everyone's going to do that. And it's like just the rising tide thing. It's just, now it doesn't matter anymore.
Yep.
Now, you know what I mean? So it's really, it's a good thing and a bad thing. One of the reasons I started focusing more on pay-per-click in my own business was I actually liked the technical side of SEO more. I don't love doing direct outreach for like content strategy stuff, right? That's not really like what I like to do.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge, right? And it's just, I'm like, I like the days where it was kind of like me and a piece of code and that's what SEO was. So I'm not saying that that's the way it should be. I think that like in a lot of ways.
I agree with you. I think technical SEO as it is per se today is even more challenging than it was 10 years ago because we have the introduction of semantic markup. We have entity search. We have so many different levels of search that we have to address now technically and be very proficient at it, that it makes it very challenging for SEOs. And this is why so many SEOs are starting to drop out of the industry, because that technical wall is hitting the ones that are too inexperienced, and they're unfortunately taking shortcuts with private blog networks and other gray hat and black hat techniques that are obviously getting them and their clients in deep water. So, PBNs can work, but you've got to be uber smart about it. And Google has a quantum computer that is smarter.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? I find another way to look at SEO is that SEO is sort of broadening, and almost SEO is now most things that are inbound marketing is what I'm doing, although I'm kind of SEO patty all over the place, and that's sort of where my concentration is. But it's really, what do we need to do to get people to the website? Really spend a lot of time on attribution. Where's it coming from? Who's responsible? How did they get there? So it's, I don't know if it's a multi-hat idea. Dan and I butt heads about what SEO means and what SEO is. And
I don't think SEO really exists anymore onto itself.
That's why it doesn't exist.
My opinion on it is
it's not dead.
It's simply you have to look at it in a holistic way, because everybody that's on this committee has a different thoughts process. For me, content marketing is a big chunk of SEO to me. It makes up a big chunk of what I do in SEO. And SEO is just simply a level of on-page and off-page optimization that you're doing part of a more holistic strategy. And this is why you see companies like SEO Moz taking the SEO out of Moz, and SEO Brain Trust taking the becoming Brain Trust. Why? Because they realize that SEO is not enough anymore onto itself. That you have to do a lot of different things around it to make it work efficiently.
Or it doesn't describe really what you're doing anymore.
No.
Right. The it's the challenging part about that too. It's one of the things that bums me out about SEO as a field or an industry or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of things that are awesome and like changing so much for the better, right? But the thing that bums me out is if you're mom and pop pizza place, right? The amount of technical well, a mom and pop pizza place might be a bad example, but if you're a smaller business, right, the amount of technical know-how you need, or even just the amount of footwork you need to put a content plan in place, can be a lot for people that like just want to pay for it. They don't want to do it in-house.
Right.
And so that smaller SEO client kind of falls by the wayside a little bit, right? And they end up getting teamed up with people who are like, I'm going to hit this button on this software, and you're going to pay me because I need to get the price point you need, I need to have 1,000 clients, right? And that business model kind of bums me out a little bit. It's you know, it might just be the case that, you know, the reason that SEO was so cool was because anybody could come on the scene and like really rank and be really aggressive and like just do out of the box stuff and be really cool. And there's always going to be room for that. But like 10 years from now, I just feel like things are going to be so much more solidified, and you are going to see a situation where it's like it's the big brands that kind of dominate every sort of situation. Or I don't know, maybe that's kind of like a dystopian view of what it's going to be. Yeah. But it's like most businesses aren't going to know what attribution is, much less care about it.
Well, you know? David has an interesting comment in the sidebar about these businesses. SEO companies are fleecing these small businesses. You know, charging them $1,500 to rank pizza in their local community. Hyper local search, it can be done very inexpensively and can be highly effective with a click-to-call campaign and putting in beacons in your restaurant so that when people are walking by and they're hungry for pizza, that they're going to get pizza, right? You can make that very simple for the business owner where they don't have to have a specific content strategy and educate people about pizza. So it's really relevant to the audience that you're doing this work for, and the particular client that you're working for. And David has a very good point about that.
Yeah, my pizza content business has been really slowing down. It's called Slice of the Pie. Slice of the Pie.
Slice of the Pie. Yeah.
Stop it. Well, the thing that I do love about doing local SEO is that you can make a big impact quick.
It's easier.
Well, it's easy, and that there are tools. I mean, but those aren't really where I'm doing long-term strategy. You know what I mean? That's kind of, you know, there are some ways to kind of really, you know, kind of crank that out. And I had a coffee meeting yesterday where I talked to somebody about how they are not showing at all. I'm like, oh my God, the best news is, you know, give me a few days, you know, like give me a couple hours and we could, you know, really make a huge difference. But I absolutely agree. So you've actually read this article, Brian. Did you like the list?
I just briefly looked at it, just as I got on and had a quick look through. I really think that you really have to think very selectively about all the tools that you're taking on, because it's an IT debt as an SEO. Yeah. That can add up very quickly. And you have to be cautious about which tool you're using in each aspect of what you're doing in SEO.
Well, I also think, I mean, I don't know if you guys think this is the case, but for me, looking at tools is what I do when I'm procrastinating. 100% that's how I spend my time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like every now and then I'm like, I type like CRM into Google and then disappear for 2 hours. And it feels like work. You know what I mean? Like if my wife walks in, she'll be like, Dan's working really hard. Because I'm like, yeah. You know, but it in a way it's you know, like I heard someone say this once and I thought it was really true about the lottery, where when you buy a lottery ticket, what you're really buying is the ability to fantasize about what you would do with the money.
Yeah, of course.
And tools the same way. When I look up tools, I'm like, imagine how cool this would be. You know what I mean? But in reality, it's like there's not the hard bits are the hard bits because they don't scale. Yeah. Right. And it's hard to make tools that do the hard bits. It's easy to make tools, not easy. None of that stuff is easy, but you can make tools that take some of the more automated stuff out and sort of make it easier. But let's put it this way. The second someone makes an SEO tool that really does well, I'm kind of out of a job. Right?
Well, I'm still waiting for the perfect semantic search markup tool for WordPress. It just hasn't happened yet.
Oh, that'll automatically.
I don't think it ever will.
because semantic is it's situational, right? It's sort of I don't know. I don't know how you would do that necessarily. There's easy stuff. I mean, I guess you could use like short codes or whatever and pop stuff.
Well, they're 80% there, but they're still off the mark. And the reason why is because semantic is constantly changing.
Yeah.
So a WordPress plugin can't keep pace with that. And this is the problem that a lot of SEOs make mistakes with clients is they add in 25 different plugins, and those plugins can go out of date in a blink of an eye and take out a site or affect your rankings really quickly, and then you blame the SEO for your problem for the problems that you're having because you've overinflated their technical foundation of their website with too many plugins.
Well, it's always the SEO's fault.
Yes, of
if you
course.
ask me. Always. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Let's talk about other stuff. Let's talk about more tools. Let's pick a tool.
Anyway,
stay with us, Brian. Stay with us.
Brian, you can stay on, man. Stay on. Let's tear people. I'm going to tear people apart. So, has anyone else experienced this on this list? Every time I page back to the list, it's like disappeared. Is this happening to anyone else?
No, the list is disappearing.
All I get is the comments.
Oh, no.
Reload the entire page.
Well, you should invite Paul Deitch, who's in here right now. He knows hyperlocal inside and out. If you want to talk about somebody who knows local SEO,
join us. Join us, Paul, absolutely. And
David Kutcher is a phenomenal content writer and has a phenomenal content blog called Content Forms.
Hey.
Yeah, hi there, Paul. I've been using SEO local for citations.
Right local?
No, sorry, Moz. SEO Moz.
Moz local.
Sorry, Moz local.
Well, here's the thing. Moz local is very good for creating the initial aggregators that you need. Because if you had to go and pay for those separately, you would pay $400 or $500 for some of them. So it's really important to use Moz Local to lay down the local aggregator foundation before you start to get into industry citations and very hyperlocal citations. So get that foundation working and flowing really well, and then start to add in the pieces of the pie.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Good. Hi there, Paul. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. I need to correct Brian a little bit because that's how I know nothing about SEO. Absolutely nothing at all. But I am a hyper-local content producer.
Okay, your sound is a little funny. Is everyone hearing that?
It sounds like he's on Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Patty, he has a voice box. How humiliating.
Oh, stop it.
I'm just kidding.
Come back in. Come back in. No, come back in.
Oh, I take back my voice box comment.
No, come on. Come back in. I think he's just trying to reset his microphone, maybe.
Oh, you insulted him.
I know.
Damn.
That's a good friend, too.
No, come back.
That's my insult-based SEO methods are not.
Paul, come back.
He may just be restarting his thing. But
he focused on hyperlocal content.
Oh, good. Please join us. Good. Okay.
So, Brian, so you're saying you don't want to be too reliant on tools. I think that totally makes sense, and I feel the same way. Are there any tools that you do like that you're like, oh, I feel pretty solid about? These guys are using tools for like little pieces of the business. So you're like,
if it's specific sections, like I really like Ahrefs. I use from time to time. I use SEMrush. Their platform has evolved quite a bit of late. I did not like it in its first iterations. Majestic SEO is really good too. It's a question of your workflow and how you're approaching things. From an auditing perspective as an SEO, like what type of tools do you do at the first initial auditing stage? What tools are you using to optimize site, and then what tools are you using to build links after? So I just try to focus on the ones that fit best for the workflow, and then obviously monitoring tools after. Like, so what type of tools are you going to be using for maintenance and monitoring rankings? Those are the kind of core areas that I focus on, and then everything else is kind of just kind of sits outside of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's like, oh, it's kind of nice to have, but I don't particularly use it or need it a whole lot. What about for monitoring rank? So Moz was the one that we used for a long time.
Yep.
I did not. And Patty and I have talked about
changed. Yeah, I'm kind of a pro Moz gal, and Dan.
Yep. Not a big Moz fan.
Yeah.
So in any case, what do you use for that, or what do you find to be realistic for that or accurate?
For local, I use Whitespark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I use Authority Labs for pretty much everything else. The other one that I just started playing around with recently is called SERPT.
Okay.
SERPT. Like ED or as a T?
Yeah, I think it's SERPT. I'll have to look it up for you.
Oh man, we've got to come up. There's got to be something better than SERP. It's the worst acronym. SERP.
Is it SERPT? Yeah, I'll have to check.
Yeah.
Paul's back.
That's
hello.
Paul.
Is that better?
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that before I turned into a droid. Actually, Brian, thanks so much for the introduction, Brian. But actually, I know nothing about SEO whatsoever.
I was misled.
Not hyperlocal.
I am hyperlocal, but I'm a hyperlocal content producer.
Okay.
And what I do is build communities organically. So yeah, I reach out to local Facebook groups, social media influencers, that type of thing, to build communities for my clients and give them compelling content.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? So I have this hyper-local question.
Sure.
This is something that, like, I'm sure we all, you know, like all people who care about their job, you read the content that comes out. You want to stay abreast of what's going on in the industry, blah, blah, blah. And so something comes up every time someone writes a hyperlocal article. I've noticed this thing. And one of their tips is to sponsor a local baseball team, like a Little League team.
Really?
Yeah, you've never seen this? People tell me this all the time. And every time I'm like, that's got to be bullshit. But I don't know. So you could tell me, is it valuable to like sponsor somebody like Dan Barrett's like Flying Eagles or whatever in the Little League squad? Is that valuable in some way in terms of local stuff?
I'm not convinced with that, to be honest with you. I think... No, I'm not convinced with that at all. I think there would be far more value in supporting a local charity, okay, and put it down to corporate social responsibility, okay, and put out content on your blog, on your Facebook page, or whatever, and tell a story around that, okay, and engage your community that way. Because the thing is, and make sure as well that if you get whatever charity that it is that you choose, make sure it's not a natty,
right?
Okay, who have a good network of followers in that area, okay. And part of the deal ought to be, if you're going to support that charity, and put resource into that and money into that, then you expect that charity to push out throughout their own network, on their own email list, on their own social media, and tell their network what you're doing. And that would be I think there'd be far more value in that. Your staff would benefit from it. Like I say, from a corporate social responsibility point of view, you know, your staff may even share it on their own Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, because, you know, they'll put it out saying, oh, look at this cool thing that I'm doing today for a local charity. You know, there's far more value in that, I think, than sponsoring a football team or whatever, because let's face it, unless you're a massive national company, I don't really see who pays attention to the ads anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. It's either that or sponsoring like an MMA fighter. That's like my other go-to SEO move.
Tattoo.
I really want to do that.
Yeah.
That and my life goal of getting a huge billboard by the side of the highway and just putting my face on it and then driving my wife by it, but not saying anything to see if she notices.
Yeah. I mean,
local marketing.
I'm not saying that sponsoring a football team or a sports team is a bad idea. I'm not saying that. But at a hyper local level, you know, first of all, you'd have to gauge how many people are actually following that team, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And I just think that there's better, more subliminal and more effective ways than doing it than that.
I think this is one of those things where it's like, I said I was going to put 15 things on this list and I'm at 13. And that's when the baseball team thing comes out.
Is that what that was? So Paul, I have a question. So
Sure.
Can you give me sort of like a little encapsulated kind of case study? Like what's an example of what you do locally and what are kind of like
guys,
those?
Before you get into it, I love you all, but I got to go.
Oh, you leaving us? Okay.
Yeah. Have a wonderful time, guys. I'll talk to you later. Next week, same time, same channel. Noon.
SEO and IPA. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Have fun. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
So to answer your question, I work with companies large and small. So at the smaller scale, I work with a local fish and chip shop.
Okay.
We have fish and chip. We call them chippies in the UK.
Okay.
They're big. You know, battered fish and chips, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the companies I work with is a fish and chip shop called Oysters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they're a very small business. They have 2 shops. I think that they're looking at getting a 3rd shop, though. They are growing. And I've been working with them for quite a few years now, just pushing out there. Because the thing is that I started my career in social media as the founder of a hyper-local media outlet called the Surrey Residents Network. And it's basically a blog. And the strap line is from the residents' perspective. Okay. You know, we focus on community activism, citizen journalism, and shining light on, you know, the good things that go on in the community. Because, you know, mainstream media, if you look at the sort of tabloid newspapers, you know, the vast majority of the stories in those papers are either negative or bad news. Because bad news sells.
That's right.
Well, what I've done with the Residents Network is I've turned that around. So where you might think that 90% of the stories are bad news or negative stories, and only 10% are feel-good stories and things positive that's going on, I turn that around on its head. So that if you look at the Residents Network website, you'll see that the content on there is mostly positive and all the good things that are going on in the Surrey community. And shine light on local businesses, but really cool local businesses and events going on in the community and that type of thing. So that's how my career started in social media, and it's grown since then. And on the back of that, I built up a nice social media consultancy, creating content for some of those businesses, and they all started off as small businesses, and now I'm working with national organizations. My largest client, I would say, is the National Rifle Association. You've heard of those guys. But the National Rifle Association of the UK, not the American one. Okay.
I didn't even know that there was a thing.
Well, actually, every country has its own National Rifle Association. And what you might find quite interesting is that it all started in the UK. The first National Rifle Association was in the UK.
Okay.
But anyway, that's just an interesting fact for you.
Yeah.
And so what I do for the National Rifle Association. So when I first went in there, they had a Twitter page, they had a Facebook page, and that really was it. And a dreadful website. And by the way, they still have a dreadful website. But they have a massive membership. So you could say, because hyperlocal doesn't necessarily have to mean a particular geographical location. Okay, it can mean a membership, and the National Rifle Association have a membership, a very large membership of thousands and thousands of members worldwide. Actually, their membership are all over the world. And what they like a lot of businesses that I work with, think that just by having a Twitter page and just by having a Facebook page is enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that, they don't get that you actually have to work quite hard to populate that with content.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did is I went in there and showed them how to, just with using a mobile phone, capture all the magic that goes on at the National Shooting Centre at Bisley, which is where all the magic happens. And I set up a podcast channel for them, which is hugely successful now. And whenever they have events, I'll go down there and interview the competitors. And what the beauty of it is it's almost semi-live, because that content, I can record it in the field on my mobile phone with a clever Rode microphone that attaches to my iPhone, and upload it, edit it. Within a couple of minutes, it's edited and published on their podcast channel within minutes of recording it. And we did this, actually. What's really interesting is, and I suppose it might actually explain that shooters are quite sad people, because one of the most popular podcast series that I've done for the NRA is a series called The Sounds of the Range. And all that is me recording the audio of the shooting. And do you know what? Those podcasts get more plays for them than any other podcast. And the engagement on those podcasts are incredible from people in Australia. And actually, if you go on my website, I'll put a link in there. There's actually an article about that, because the NRA, and this is hyperlocalism for you, and how you reach, how social media can really increase your reach. Because every year, the National Rifle Association have this competition called the Imperial.
Okay.
It's the world's biggest shooting competition. Thousands of shooters from all over the world descend upon the National Shooting Centre at Bisley in the UK to shoot for the ultimate prize, which is called the Queen's Prize. Okay. And the competition lasts for a month. And I've covered that competition for 2 years now, and they've literally just booked me for next year as well. And I drive around in a golf buggy for the whole month. It's actually quite hard work. It's good fun, but it's hard work. They give me a golf buggy, and I have a lockbox on the back of the golf buggy with all my equipment in. And I go around and I capture video content, podcasts. We used Periscope for the first time at this year's Imperial, which was fantastic and went down really well. I just drive around on my golf buggy, and this Australian guy came up to me. He tapped me on the shoulder. He says, "Are you Paul Deach?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "You owe me $30,000. I went, "Really? How's that?" He said, because I've not shot competitively for over 25 years. But last year, I listened to your Sounds of the Range podcast series from Australia, and it inspired me to get back into shooting. Okay. And as a result, I entered I had to buy myself a new rifle. I had to buy flights and accommodation and a car hire to come over here for a month for the Imperial. And it comes to the tune of in his Australian accent, he says, "You didn't get much change out of 30 large," right? And, I think that encapsulates quite well what I do, because it's about building community.
Yes.
An organic community, and with content. I let my content do the talking, really. Believe it or not, I'm not the most confident of people. I'm not a great public speaker. But somehow I find the confidence to come on these things and do podcasts. I still get nervous. Occasionally I get the opportunity to interview celebrities. And I get really nervous when I do that. I don't know why. I get butterflies in my stomach. But actually, when you listen to the audio, it actually comes across really well and natural. And I suppose that nervousness translates into enthusiasm, and normally comes across quite well. So that's what I do, basically.
Get it? So it's very micro niche or niche.
It is niche, I think.
Building a community in and around that micro niche, and
it is. I specialize in what I call mobile creativity.
Okay.
So rather than spend thousands of pounds on high-end video equipment, you know, and editing software and production equipment, I virtually capture 90% of the content I produce. That's whether it be a podcast, whether it be video, whether it be imagery, is captured on an iPhone 6 Plus or 6S Plus now.
The new 6S has a 4K camera in it now.
That's right.
So you can do some really quality stuff with it if you set it up right.
You know what though? But the first iPhone I had was an iPhone 5, and I was doing the same with that.
I have a 5S.
Yeah. And you know, Brian, I said in the other blab that we were in earlier that these days, thankfully, thanks to YouTube, production quality isn't actually as important as it used to be.
Well, look at this. This and Periscope, right?
Exactly, and with video, there are some basics that you do have to abide by still. But so long as you stick to those basics, so for instance, you know, make sure that the audio quality is reasonable. Make sure that you're not jumping up and down with the camera so that it's uncomfortable to watch. You know, make sure your subject's in the center of the frame and that type of thing. But so long as you abide by those basics, people will watch your content if it's of interest. You know, so they don't need to be Spielberg productions, and it's the same with podcasts. Some of the most popular podcasts in the world. I listen to a lot of technology podcasts, and Rene Ritchie from iMore does a podcast every week, and he records it over Skype with his guests over Skype, using the built-in microphones of his MacBook or whatever device he's using. He's not using high-end studio equipment yet. His podcasts get enormous sponsorship from people like Squarespace. You know, he's attracting sponsors because obviously there's a lot of people listening to his show.
Have a look at the link that I just put in for Filmic Pro. They have a little app that you can get for the iPhone that basically turns your iPhone into a professional camera, and then you just buy. I basically bought some accessories from them to put a bigger lens on my iPhone and have a case, a hardened case that you can put on your iPhone so that you can put it on a tripod and film there.
I've seen that. I've seen that before, actually. Now that I look at it, I work quite closely with Patrick at HoloClip, and HoloClip are these little clips that you can slide onto your. And if you look at my, and it basically turns your iPhone into a DSLR. You know, you can have a wide-angle lens, you can have a fisheye lens, macro lenses, telephoto lenses, you name it. They have a lens for pretty much every possibility, and it basically gives you many more creative options out of your iPhone. I also use a thing called a shoulder pod. Do you know do you know what, Brian? We should do a blab about peripherals for mobile creativity.
We've gone off in a little bit of a different
hijacked.
There you go. There's another one there. There's another one
love
there.
This thing.
But you know, there's never been a better time for businesses to really take control of their own content and do it in a compelling way, in a cheap way. More, you know, only 3, 4, 5 years ago, if you wanted to have a really nice promotional video, you were talking thousands and thousands of dollars to come up with something. You can do it yourself now for virtually free with the device you've got in your pocket.
And you can optimize your YouTube videos, and that's another way to do some SEO work. Hey, that's Patty, kind of pulling us back towards what your topic is.
Rein you back in.
What about?
So the article, Paul, what tool? Well, I don't know. We can kind of talk about some tools. The article that we're talking about is the backlinko.com/SEO-tools. It was Brian Dean's complete list of 131 tools. And the article is very cool. It's almost like a site in and of itself. You're able to kind of sort the list by different topics. And so we were going to go into some keyword research. You know, we can kind of keep going here if you guys are into it. This is cool with me. So I'm looking at a version of the article where it's keyword research. It's free, paid, and freemium. And I'm looking at some of Brian's favorites.
Right.
Okay.
I need to leave now.
Okay.
I'm really sorry. I only came in because Brian said that I should, but I need to start getting my daughter ready for bedtime and stuff now. It's that time of the night in the UK. But it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and hopefully I can do that again sometime. It's been
absolutely, Paul. Good to. I'm following you now. So yeah, good. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Bye now.
Nice to meet you. Bye bye.
Take care.
So Brian, are you cool to talk over a couple keyword research tools?
Sure. I actually don't use any of the keyword tools that are on the list. Actually, I actually use the last keyword tool, which no one has ever heard of before.
The last keyword tool.
Yes.
Is that the website? The last keyword tool.
Yes.
Get out. What do you like about it?
Well, I can put in my own algorithms of how I want to do my research.
Okay.
I can put in very custom search patterns, and I can bring back specific things in a specific order. So without getting too technical, if I want to understand, if I'm looking for supporting keywords, I can pull a supporting keyword list. If I'm looking for commercial intent keywords, I can pull back that. Okay. So I can start to segment a lot of the data with that tool. Another tool that I use that goes in conjunction with that is called Kraken.
Okay.
So that's all part of, I'm actually a certified advisor on Network Empire, which is part of that. And we use silo architecture, and without getting too deep, in conjunction with these tools to create thematic themes of relevant content around specific keywords.
Okay, so it's keywords, they're associated keywords, they're similar vertical kind of keywords, that kind of thing, and you can kind of pull that all in. Yeah,
and we sprinkle supporting keywords and what we call Latin semantic indexing keywords that are associated with that particular theme or particular article that you're writing about. And we put those into basically silos of information where there's only relevant content in that. So it accelerates the search ranking factors by about 20 to 30% faster than it would if you did it the conventional way.
Interesting. And are you creating this content yourself? You're a writer?
Yes. Okay. So I'm working on kind of two fronts. I worked as an SEO for about 15 years, and then I started getting into social media strategy, and now I've become sort of a content strategist. And that's part of what I do as part of, holistic approach to it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. My background is I was a project manager building kind of large scale websites. I have a degree in information systems, and then got into working in SEM and doing, kind of reporting and creating those campaigns, and then moved into SEO, and I've been doing my own SEO biz for, I think, almost over 3 years now. So, so I swung at this from a very different direction. The one thing I do not do is write. So, it kind of takes, what I do is more like a strategy. So I'll deal with the content kind of once it's written, and then I can kind of tweak some stuff, but that's not as, it's not as a full offering as actually doing the research, understanding all those concepts and parallel kind of keywording, and then actually creating something worth reading with all of that in mind. So that's a very unique specialty. That's terrific.
I think the mistake that people make with keyword research is they rely on the tools to bring them back the appropriate keywords that they think is going to fit their particular market. You have to go a step further than that. You have to do the approach. I mean, I'll tell you straight up how I do it. Basically, the most appropriate way to do it is find out where the most frequently asked questions are taking place around your product or service. Right? So I'll use something like Quora, and I'll put in a specific keyword that I think is broad and relevant to my market. And it'll bring back a list of the most frequently asked questions. I'll put that in a spreadsheet. And then I'll go into what are the keywords that, I'll go into what is the question behind the question?
Yeah.
And then I'll work with the client to figure out what is the should ask question. Right. And from that column, from all those columns, I'll extract the appropriate keywords, and I'll build out a thematic website around those primary keywords.
Yeah.
And all I'll do is I'll take those keywords and I'll validate them with a PPC campaign. because the keyword research tools that you have at your disposal do not give a very accurate assessment of the true traffic that you're going to expect. Right. So I usually will run an initial campaign as a test campaign with PPC just to validate the keywords and make sure that those the traffic is really going to meet the framework that I'm building.
Right.
And that's usually the approach that I take with it. So the keyword tools that you're seeing here will just simply give you ideas and direction, but you need to have some structure or at least a foundation before you get there.
Right.
With your research.
Right, exactly. And you know, it's funny that you say that. I was, were you at Inbound by any chance?
No.
Okay. So I was at Inbound a few weeks ago, and I listened to this interesting talk. There was sort of a theme going on that I kept hearing over and over again about, I guess it was sort of content marketing, but it was almost doing that in reverse, where you know, data mine, you know, look at your analytics, find out what your most popular articles or blog posts or whatever it is, and then make those. Absolutely. Dave, you can join us for sure. Two weeks in a row, Dave. I appreciate that. And actually, so once you find that unicorn in the mix, once you find what's working, you can then pay to then kind of promote that, because it's already a given. You already know it's working. You already know it's getting, you know, interaction. It's getting links. It's getting, you know, clicks too. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but it would be that's what a top down, bottom up, you know, that's the other direction from what you're talking about, where you're engineering something that will work for sure. So that's absolutely impressive. Hold on. Is he not listening to me? Yes. Come on in, Dave. But yeah, so I think that's interesting. Some of the keyword research that I'm doing, you know, I like SpyFu, especially if I'm doing, you know, kind of paid campaigns and looking at you know, competitive landscapes, kind of like what's working, what's known to be working, what's, you know, the best running ads, that kind of thing, and what are the best paid for keywords. You know, it's I don't think that's black hat. I just think that that's using the tools that are available. It's sort of, how can we compete here? But yeah, for sure. So let me get back up the article. So there's other, you know, we can kind of skip keyword stuff since we've kind of talked about that. I found some interesting, let me see, some stuff that was interesting to me. Do you know UpCity?
No, I'm not aware of it.
Okay. UpCity looked interesting. Of course, now I don't know how to even begin to search it. But I put that on my list. I was making my own Evernote as I was going through this for today, seeing which ones I'm already using that I'm familiar with, and then which of these tools look to me by the description to be kind of like worth looking into.
One thing that Brian Dean suggests when you're doing keyword research is to start to look for where those topics around your products or services are being discussed. And he highly recommends that you go and look at alltop.com to find out, okay, is there a conversation going on around my market?
Yeah.
You know, like what are those, you know, what kind of topics are happening? Because look, if people are not talking about your products or services online,
right,
it's going to be really difficult for you to sell anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can create the the best way, an analogy I had it was, I had a large mortgage company in the United States that I worked with. And we built up this huge framework of content, and we SEO'd everything. And the mistake that we made along the way is that we didn't find out where our audience was having the conversation.
Right.
So it's like I took this big content container and I put it in the middle of the forest and I painted the tree pink, and I hoped that somebody would be driving by on the highway and looking in and seeing my pink tree and coming in and learning about what I do. And this, you know, this is a big mistake.
Wrong forest.
Wrong forest. And so you really need to, keywords will help you, but if you can't rank for them, you're in the middle of the forest and you're going to stay there for a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, it's finding that unicorn, finding the right forest. You're right. Talking about parallel concepts, then those other concepts are what's getting searched on and ranked for. And then understanding competitively where you can play and where you can't. I'm sure that's a big part of how you spend your time, you know, looking what you can rank for and which can't.
Well, it comes down to user intent too. I mean, you can send all the traffic in the world to a website, but if the website can't convert that traffic, it's not going to equate to profitability.
Right.
So that's another, that's a whole blab to itself, is about conversion and about, you can have a highly optimized website. It's doing really, well, but without the right social signals and the right type of factors that you need to get there, you're just a tree in the forest.
Right. Right. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's Dave. He's joining us now. Yeah. I mean, one of my clients is actually is actually an author. She's a paleo author. She's doing kind of bone broth ideas. All of these are highly competitive, highly talked about.
I'm on paleo, actually.
Oh, are you good? How's it working?
Send me her link. I'd be happy to look at her stuff.
Oh my gosh, I will. Are you on like a cleanse or a reset?
I did a cleanse a few months ago, and I've gone full tilt on paleo, and I'm having my bulletproof coffee every morning. So Excellent. I love it. Well, her name is it's drkellyanne.com. She's okay. I don't know if you know her. Yeah. So check it out.
She's phenomenal. She's doing a lot with bone broth. She's about to come out with another book, and there's a kind of a big push that we're all working on right now. But she's great. She's rocking a lot of the social media, a lot of the Facebook. She has over 100,000 followers there. So a lot of her is blogging a lot of content rolling out. So for us, it's a matter of finding those unicorns and promoting and paying for the right stuff, as opposed to kind of moving on. But anyway, good luck with the paleo.
Yeah.
Paleo
recipes work really well, by the way.
What is it?
Paleo recipes worked really well.
Oh, do they? Hers?
Well, they work really well as a way to help people online with it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That Pinterest, there's a lot of that. They're doing some interesting stuff with kind of like online quizzes through social media, which is very effective, and building the list and that kind of thing. But this is my friend Dave. Dave, we met just the other week. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Thanks so much for having me again today. I had a question for Brian. So let me just give you a quick background. I started with my clients developing web applications, and it's a lot of coding and that kind of stuff. But then pretty much I've done everything with computers, fixing computers, small businesses, homes, web development, web applications. And then from there, just organically grew into dealing with their website and also taking on I'm just beginning with the SEO kind of thing. Now, what I wanted to ask you is we're talking about the tools to do the keyword research. Once you have a grid of however you decided which keywords you want to use in there, when you're trying to link them to PPC campaigns, how do you deal with clients that have large budgets when you tell them that you're going to test out a set of keywords? Because what I had, and it's one of those that it's okay to fall as long as you learn something from it and then just keep on going. I had a really good client, which I currently just as of like last month I lost, and it was like a really big account. But it might be that I just wasn't in the right place in order to take such a big account. But just in general, I guess like it's a good, pretty good general topic. They were investing anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 a month on just PPC. Now, they wanted kind of like an integral solution. So SEO, PPC, everything they wanted me to manage, which was, I don't think like there's anybody out there that the same person does everything at one time. Everybody relies on expertise for each thing. But I guess my main question is, once you figure out the keywords, and you said that you wanted to run a test, how do you explain that to clients? Because if you have that many keywords and then you set up a budget and you say, hey, yeah, we tried $1,000 and no, sorry, that didn't work. How do you go back to them and explain that?
Well, are we talking about the client that was already spending $30,000 on their PPC? Or are we talking about a new client that you're using PPC to validate their keyword research?
So this is a new client.
Okay. Look, it's really critically important that you know the commercial intent that those keywords that you're suggesting to your client that you can validate. Look, a client's going to hire you 9 times out of 10 if you can prove to them that traffic is as accurate as possible, and that you've mapped out their conversion strategy and a way to improve that, and you've combined that with the different traffic goals that you're suggesting to the client as a strategy, and then you're rolling that out and reinforcing it by using tools like PPC to validate it. I haven't met a client. I haven't been in a situation with a client before where we validated keywords that we had done a lot of extensive research on beforehand, and that we were just proving to the client that, yes, the traffic is there. We know that we're going to meet the objectives, because when you're setting business goals with a client, in order for them to make one sale, they need X amount of traffic, and they need a conversion of 1% to meet that goal. So your job, Dave, is to either increase the traffic, increase the conversion. It's either or. So you're working on a number of different fronts, and you need to be validating each one of those steps with the client. And you cannot rely on the keyword planner to tell you that you're going to get 8,000 visits for a specific keyword, and then you find out after validating it on PPC that it's actually 4,000. And you've promised the client 8,000 people are going to come to his site based on a #1 ranking because the keyword planner told you so.
Right. So I guess like the specific thing with this client is that they were trying to take on a very aggressive approach, and it had to end up not only, although they did understand that some of the traffic that could be generated was going to lead to sales later on, not right away from that one, they were very keen on, we spent $1, this many views, this many clicks, this many sales, right? So I think the problem with them was that they didn't understand that its percentage of it was also going to be just organic traffic that was going to be generated for later on. And it's very hard to, even if you have some tools in there for tracking phone numbers and that kind of stuff. But the problem that I had was that, right, some things I wanted to test, but it could have ended up being thousands of dollars worth of tests. So what I ended up doing for this one case is that I actually took a safe approach, I could say, because it was easier for me to explain to them, yeah, you know what, I know we had $20,000 of budget, but we spent $3,000 in this month. I just wanted to test the market, see how this was doing, instead of coming back to them and saying like, yeah, you gave me $30,000 of budget, and sorry, I think you got $2,000 of sales. That was not going to look too good. You know what I mean? But then again, some other people were like, well, if you don't, you're using the whole budget, they might see you as like, it looks like you're not confident as to what you're doing.
If they're spending $30,000 a month on PPC, they better be making $60,000 to $70,000 back on that. Right. And if they're not, they need to evaluate their PPC campaign and not try to blame the people that are around that. It could just simply be that their PPC campaign is poorly managed, and that they're resting on their laurels, and they're not being aggressive about of having the right management team in place to manage their PPC effectively. If I'm not getting a 2.5 times return on my PPC stuff, please fire me.
Yeah, and you need to talk about lifetime value and, return on investment and, my time, you know what I mean? Like the expense of having me manage these as well. You kind of have to do that whole equation. And then also you need to explain the benefit of the testing. We could experience a lift this way, which would give us, knowledge to benefit from for strategically for a long time, and you can have better insights, so it's a matter of, this is testing, this is what it's for. And then sometimes you can even do that by taking that off the top. I mean, it sounds a little weird, but of the 30, that we're going to take this piece of next month's budget, and we're going to do this with it, and here's what I'm expecting the outcome from, you know what I mean? And then it's a matter of laying that all out, laying out the dollars. I find clients are much more, those conversations are much easier to have when you start hashing out the dollars and the spend and the media spend and everything else, if you just be very transparent about what that is.
And that 30,000 that they're spending, you may find out from a PPC audit that they're blowing $10,000 anyway.
Right. Yeah. I mean, immediately cut off the bottom 30%, right? I mean, that's one way to hack an analysis, right? Just get rid of all the non-performing keywords and focus your spend this way.
Yeah, this was a tough client because I originally was just dealing with their website. So any content they wanted to update, I made the website mobile friendly, that kind of stuff. And then SEO was okay. But when I started working with the company, they had another person that was specifically dealing with the SEO. for good, bad, exactly what they were doing, 1 hour a week, 50 hours a week. I had no idea. So they just took me on just to do development, and then they asked me if I had any idea for PPC. I took that on, and I think the results that I brought just with the small budget that I decided to spend in case something went wrong and I didn't have to go back to them and say, sorry, $20,000 is out, you know? Right. They were okay, but eventually the reason they changed me over to another company was because they were looking for one company that could do everything. So like deal with our SEO, SMM, PPC, right. Like go for it. Like, what do you need? $30,000 this month. Next month you need $60,000. Okay. And the problem with them is that they were being pressured because their main competitor deals worldwide with the products, and they're spending, I believe it was like $3 million per year on just PPC itself, besides everything else that they were doing. So they were feeling the pressure, and yep, I have no idea how they're doing right now. I'm still in their AdWords account, so I can see, and they're spending something right now like $1,500 a day. So who knows how they're doing, but yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they should be moving. You know, they should be being more aggressive with their SEO and trying to get themselves off the SEO, off the PPC.
Or at least balance that, but balance that a little more. I mean, it's hard to say not knowing what the nature of the business is, but
yeah, it's tough to compete with $3 million a year budget.
Yeah. You guys don't think that there is something within Google's algorithm made on purpose or not, that as a business you're spending a lot more money and somehow one way or another it leads to helping organics as well, and with what you're spending?
Yeah, they profess over and over that those are not related concepts, not related ideas, right?
No.
Yeah, they say that's not. But Dave, if you want to stick with us, I'd like to move on.
Yeah,
only because Brian, I've got you here just for a few more minutes. With content optimization tools, I would love to know what you use, if any, from this list. Would you mind looking at some of this with me real quick?
Yeah, sure. SEO tools.
So I'm looking at, everyone knows we're looking at this article, the Backlinko. We're going to look at the, content optimization tools here.
Inbound Writer is a really interesting tool.
Okay.
Yep.
So are you looking at all of them, or just, we can look at all of them? I'm looking at Brian's favorites. Okay.
I use NTopic. I use Inbound Writer. Let's see what else.
Brian, do you use the same tools for every client, whatever you end up feeling more comfortable with, or depending on who you're working with, one tool might work better than another?
Yes, every client's different. Really depends on the strategy and what's being implemented for that client. You might be doing SEO for a client where they don't have any content marketing. They're just simply, they don't have a blog or specific content. And then you might have another that has a very comprehensive content strategy that they want to plug SEO into on a number of levels. And that's where it gets really difficult, especially as a solopreneur. I would tell you, Dave, that you missed a big opportunity with that client. You could have just simply said, yes, I can take it on, and outsourced those missing pieces that you had in your skill sets with other, you could have
unfortunately
taken that on.
I found the right people a little bit too late, and I couldn't bring them in because freelance world, there's a whole bunch of people out there, but to get to that level where I could bring them in and they had expertise dealing with that kind of budgets, I found that a little bit too late.
And be wary of clients that are looking for a quick fix. We work in a business where it's long term. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And clients that are being narcissistic and being really focused on me, and I've got to get results. And if you don't get results in a month, I'm over with SEO. These are the clients you just want to steer clear of.
Yeah.
Just not, they don't have marketing chops to begin with. So they don't really have a good, how can they respect you if they're asking you to come in and fix something they've been working on for like 5 years, and they, if they don't have a clue or know what they're doing, it's a weary client. It's a client I wouldn't take on personally, unless
so you guys, for your own businesses, do you still sign at least 6-month contracts?
I don't sign contracts with clients. I do everything performance based.
Okay.
Oh, do you?
That's great.
Yes.
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. Yeah. No, I have. I do retainer work, so it's a month to month, retainer work that I do. But I do, when they onboard with me, it's benchmarking, and then it's kind of where do you want to be, and then it's what's the strategy, and then the strategy gets revisited and referred to, over time.
That strategy, you're not forcing them to stick with you, right? Even if they don't like you or you haven't shown results, because that's what I found kind of weird with making sign those contracts.
Yeah, I basically look at it a different way. I charge a one-time fee to do an overall strategy, and then the implementation of that strategy and all the tools and all the different components. Obviously, the client's on the hook for that, but the ongoing aspect is performance-based. So we either do something based on the sales that we produce, and we take a percentage of sales that we produce. That can work really well for certain companies. Other companies that get a little bit squeamish about it, and especially if you start talking about equity.
Yeah.
But we mostly sell it based on sales growth. So if we meet target X, we get bonus, and we just do it that way, and it works really, really well. I've got my systems down so well now that I can timeline a time to rank on just about any keyword.
Interesting.
So I've got an entire mapping structure to do that, and I can tell you it's going to take you 18 months to reach that goal for that particular keyword if we do these things.
I love it.
So, yeah,
I love it. What do you do with N topic as a tool, Brian?
N topic. Let me just.
Is that the one that you said? I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood. Did you? It was N something.
N topic. Yes.
It looks like it's a content relevancy tool. It kind of gives you a score.
Yeah, I use it for the LSI keywords. So to make a long story short, Google's algorithm looks for relevancy not just based on the keyword that you're optimizing for, but it looks for relevant keywords that are surrounding that keyword within your content. So without being too complex, Latin semantic indexing or relevant supporting keywords. Like I've seen this where you put a supporting keyword within 5 keywords of either side of your keyword within your content. That can actually give you a lift. Yeah. So N-Topic can help you to analyze your content to make sure that you're meeting those objectives. Okay, interesting. And is that something that you would do after the fact? If you don't get the lift on the content, you could then say, what else can I bake in or insert into? Yeah, and I don't overthink it too much. One of the things now that you're seeing is that over-optimization is becoming a problem. Where people are, like when you put your titles and your meta descriptions together, you're focus on getting the click through. That's the job. Don't focus on the brand and the keyword and all that. Just focus on how do I get them to click through, and then let your content do the work. The content I try not to over-optimize too. I'll use 1 to 3 keywords within the content, and then I might sprinkle in a bit of supporting keywords just to give it the necessary lift. Interesting. Yep. Interesting. Yeah. As you know, like I said, I don't create content, so I find that interesting. You don't want me to create content. I'm not a very good writer, so so I respect that in those that you've a great combination of skill sets there. I think it's very. Well, I've had to work hard on it. It's something that really you focus heavily on. Like I was not a good content writer before, and I've had to really work hard on it. And I take a lot of courses and learn from a lot of different people about how to improve that, because it's a constantly changing thing. It's a moving target. It's like trying to paint a target on a train when it's going by you at 70 miles an hour. It's not easy. Right. And it's I really get that. I very much respect that. But also having to rank something after the fact where you didn't have that opportunity to influence to begin with is kind of rough. So, so I get that. I like the idea of someone, and I'm looking in this direction, by the way, Dave, and this is kind of to you. I'm looking to participate
in more of a team, more of a kind of a marketing team, and kind of bridge. There's those that are doing the marketing and those that are doing the technology and the execution, and then building an SEO bridge and a strategic vision, kind of combining those efforts that are already happening anyway, right? Whether or not they're being directed in an SEO frame of mind, or whether they're taking into account the platforms or the social opportunities, or, you know, the inbound concepts and the and conversion optimization ideas. You know, what is the best way to, you know, build on the business goals, and keeping everybody kind of like talking and strategically in line. So, so having somebody like you on would be brilliant, would be absolutely brilliant, you know, or, you know, to partner with somebody with just similar, you know, skill sets, I think would be great. But anyway, yeah. So I'm going to have to wrap this up in just a minute. I'm so pleased. But UpCity, here's UpCity. UpCity is on this list of content. So real quick, it reads like this. UpCity is one part SEO tool and one part online marketing course. This means that instead of getting a list of fancy charts and error messages, the tool tells you how to get on the right track. And it's perfect for small business owners that do DIY SEO. So I guess it kind of, you know, spits out, it looks like status and task and section and effort and impact based on, what are we talking here? Okay, so it hits Google Webmaster Tools. I don't know. Maybe it's just kind of a checklist. Maybe it analyzes what you're doing and then gives you a checklist, and then maybe sells you training on the back end. But it's upcity.com.
One I would also recommend, and I use it with a mortgage company when we produce, I produce a ton of content for them, and we use Squirrely for that.
Oh, really?
Which is on the list, actually.
Is it? Okay.
And Squirrely has 3 components to it. There's sort of actual on-page content, you know, that helps you to optimize your content so that it's relevant. And there is a system that will look at your site in a global way, and it'll tell you specific areas of your site that you should be working on a continual basis.
Okay.
So then it keeps track of those scores for those particular areas, so that if you're, you know, don't have any traffic, but you've done well in SEO and your content and your social, well, you know, hey, I've got to start this month. I'm going to work more heavily on my traffic.
Interesting.
So it could actually organically almost help you to create an overall strategy for your business. If you're a small business and you're doing a content marketing piece, Squirrely is really great for that, because it'll force you to start to get involved in these different stages, or at least find the right people to fill in those gaps of your campaign that you're struggling with.
Interesting. What's the URL for that?
It's in the list, actually.
I didn't see it. I just went through.
Squirrely. So it's a plugin.
Oh, okay.
It's called howto.squirrely.co WordPress plugin, SEO plugin by Squirrely.
Okay. Got it. All right, I'll look that up. Yeah, I love some of the plugins. I did just add a new plugin today based on this list. I added WooRank.
WooRank, yeah. WooRank is a very good tool. I used it when I was working at a social media agency a few years back, and it's evolved a lot more since.
Oh, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go to a website and then up comes all these stats and stuff off to the left side for me.
Yeah, it works similar to Squirrely. It'll basically do an audit of your SEO, but then it'll start to make ongoing recommendations so that you can continue to tweak things as you go. Yeah. But keep in mind that people get caught up in this and they over-optimize. Yeah. And that's where you get into trouble with Google. So just a caveat with the tools.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining, both of you.
You're
Brian,
welcome.
It's always fun. I know I've seen you in the blab sphere before, so I'll look for you again. And guys, have a great day.
Yes, take care.
Okay.
Do you mind if I just ask one last question to you, Brian?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brian, just one technical, if you could just give me your point of view on that. I have one client that it's a landscaping company. 5 years ago, one of the things that I did for them was, because they work in about 6 or 7 cities, from their main base, is that I actually created separate pages, very specific pages with the same content, something like snow removal, this city, snow removal, that city. So even from 4 years ago, I heard that was going to start getting penalized by Google and all their updates in order for you that you shouldn't be having those specific pages trying to have them paid to fall in there. Now, I haven't changed anything, and SEO-wise, all those pages have always been ranking within the first page, within the first 5 links for every single keyword that I have tried to use. And I've never seen one drop in performance from any of the updates up to today.
Have you been using any semantic markup for geotagging those particular locations within each page?
No, it's literally just HTML and same content, change the city. That's it. That's the only thing that changes.
Yeah, the duplicate content on that, if it was all on one site, then you'd have duplicate content issues. The fact that you made subdomains for each city.
So they don't have subdomains. It's actually company.com/landscaping city, landscaping other city, landscaping other city.
There's nothing really wrong with that.
For some reason.
Yeah.
There's nothing really wrong with that approach.
You don't count that as duplicate content?
No.
Okay.
As long as, look, one thing that I suggest you do is start to sprinkle in some relevant content to that local area within each of those pages. That will kind of help. I can tell you right now that the algorithm will catch up to you. It's just a question of when. But what you should be doing is try to localize that content a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Make it a little bit more unique, and I don't think it's going to take much effort for you to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you would get dinged for that. There's a lot of companies that have several locations, and you kind of want to show you can local SEO, right? At each of those locations with that same website, right? So I don't see, that's not a unique problem or a challenge that should be an issue.
Yeah,
right?
I know a company in the United States called AvantaClean, and they use a zip code locator. So basically, you put in your zip code and it generates the page.
Yeah.
But it's all localized. They've localized their content a little bit, and they got spanked really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine. Well, that's,
And after you get penalized, I'm pretty sure they put you into some sort of naughty list there. Either for a long time or short time or no.
You just get
de-indexed. Yeah.
You just get de-indexed.
Yeah. Yeah, blacklisted. Not good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
great. I hope I answered your questions.
Thanks so much, Brian. Thanks so much, Patty.
I'll see you real soon, guys. Bye.
Take care.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.